Is arrowwood viburnum invasive? I haven't experienced arrowwood viburnum as particularly invasive in my garden. It seems to behave well and doesn't spread uncontrollably like some other plants I've encountered. However, I always keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't start encroaching on other areas. Is arrowwood viburnum poisonous? As far as I know, arrowwood viburnum is not considered poisonous to humans or pets. However, the berries may cause mild stomach upset if ingested in large quantities. I always err on the side of caution and discourage consumption. See more 206 species in genus Viburnum at monsteraholic.com. Is arrowwood viburnum edible? I've read that arrowwood viburnum berries are technically edible, but they're not particularly tasty. I tried them once out of curiosity, and they were quite bitter. Some people use them for making jams or jellies, but personally, I prefer to leave them for the birds to enjoy. Do deer eat arrowwood viburnum? Fortunately, deer haven't shown much interest in my arrowwood viburnum plants. I've had issues with deer browsing on other plants in my garden, but they seem to leave the arrowwood viburnum alone, which is a relief. How fast does arrowwood viburnum grow? Arrowwood viburnum seems to be a moderate grower in my experience. It's not as fast growing as some other shrubs, but it still fills out nicely over time. With proper care and conditions, it can put on a few inches of growth each year. How to plant arrowwood viburnum? When I planted my arrowwood viburnum, I made sure to choose a location with well-draining soil and partial to full sun exposure. I dug a hole slightly larger than the root ball and backfilled it with a mixture of compost and soil. After planting, I watered it thoroughly and mulched around the base to help retain moisture. How to prune arrowwood viburnum? Pruning arrowwood viburnum is pretty straightforward. I usually prune it in late winter or early spring before new growth starts. I remove any dead or diseased branches and shape it as desired. I try to maintain a natural form rather than giving it a formal shape. Is arrowwood viburnum evergreen? Arrowwood viburnum is not evergreen, it's deciduous. This means it sheds its leaves in the fall and remains bare throughout the winter months. However, it typically has attractive foliage during the growing season, which turns beautiful shades of red and purple in the fall. Where to buy arrowwood viburnum? I found arrowwood viburnum available at local nurseries and garden centers, especially during the spring and fall planting seasons. Online plant retailers and garden catalogs are also good options if you're looking for specific varieties or larger specimens. Can I shape an arrowwood viburnum? Yes, you can shape an arrowwood viburnum through pruning. I like to maintain its natural form, but you can prune it to create a more formal hedge or shape if desired. Just be sure to prune it at the right time and avoid removing too much foliage at once. Does arrowwood viburnum smell bad? Arrowwood viburnum doesn't have a particularly strong or offensive smell in my experience. Some people may notice a mild, pleasant fragrance from the flowers, especially in spring when they're in bloom. How far apart to plant arrowwood viburnum? When planting arrowwood viburnum, I typically space them about 5 to 8 feet apart, depending on the variety and desired density. This allows enough room for them to spread out and fill in without becoming overcrowded. How to propagate arrowwood viburnum? I haven't personally propagated arrowwood viburnum, but it can be done through several methods, including taking softwood or hardwood cuttings, layering, or seed propagation. Softwood cuttings are usually taken in early summer, while hardwood cuttings are taken in late fall or winter. Is arrowwood viburnum an evergreen? Arrowwood viburnum is not evergreen, it's deciduous. It loses its leaves in the fall, revealing bare branches throughout the winter months. However, it typically has attractive foliage during the growing season and may produce colorful berries in the fall. What to plant with arrowwood viburnum? Arrowwood viburnum pairs well with a variety of other plants in the landscape. I like to plant it alongside other native shrubs and perennials for a naturalistic look. Some good companion plants include oakleaf hydrangea, summersweet, and native grasses. What zone is the arrowwood viburnum tree? Arrowwood viburnum is adaptable to a wide range of climates and can be grown in USDA hardiness zones 2 to 8. It's important to choose a variety suited to your specific climate and growing conditions for the best results. When does arrowwood viburnum bloom? Arrowwood viburnum typically blooms in late spring to early summer, depending on the climate and variety. The flowers are small, creamy white clusters that are quite attractive and may have a slight fragrance. When to transplant arrowwood viburnum? The best time to transplant arrowwood viburnum is in early spring or late fall when the plant is dormant. This minimizes stress on the plant and gives it the best chance of establishing well in its new location. Be sure to water it thoroughly after transplanting to help it settle in.